One morning, you might wake up and find that you can't refuel your car, access your account, or prove your digital identity. Because someone, somewhere, may have locked your entire life with just a few lines of code. War is no longer on the battlefield. It's on your screen, in your email, on your phone. What you're about to see in this video is not a threat. It's real. And maybe much closer than you think.
Today, we turned the tables on DarkSide.
December 2014. It was an ordinary day in Hollywood until Sony Pictures employees saw a chilling message on their computer screens, hacked by #GOP, meaning Guardians of Peace. Hackers had infiltrated Sony's systems and stolen terabytes of data, email exchanges, confidential documents, employee records, and even unreleased films. Brad Pitt's Fury leaked onto torrent site before it even hit theaters. But why did the attack happen? Allegedly, it all started with The Interview, a comedy in which two journalists plot to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. North Korea saw the film as an act of terrorism, and according to the FBI, the cyber attack was carried out by Lazarus, a hacker group backed by the North Korean regime. The hackers issued threats, warning that if the movie was released, there would be 9/11-style attacks. The result? Sony pulled the film, sparking global outrage and a fierce debate over freedom of expression. This marked the first major cyber war triggered by a film, one that shook both Hollywood and the world's understanding of cybersecurity to its core. You go to the gas station to fill up, but the pumps don't work. The screen shows just one word: system offline. This isn't a technical glitch. This is a declaration of war. May 2021. The Colonial Pipeline, an 8,800-kilometer giant fuel pipeline supplying the U.S. East Coast, carrying oil, diesel, jet fuel, the lifeblood of the system. And one day, everything stops. A ransomware infects Colonial Pipeline system. All operations freeze. No flow, no data. And America starts to panic. Miles-long lines at gas stations, people panic buying supplies, and a few lines of code bring the entire country to a halt. This wasn't just a cyber attack. It was a national security crisis. Behind the attack, a group allegedly based in Russia, DarkSide. Their goal was clear: lock down the system, demand ransom, then vanish. The company pays hackers $4.4 million in Bitcoin ransom. But here's the question. If the world's most powerful nation can be brought to its knees by a piece of code, how safe are we? The FBI steps in. Cybersecurity experts scour every corner. But the real vulnerability wasn't digital, it was human. One email, one click, and everything collapsed. The battlefield is no longer land, it's lines of code. And the enemy attacks from a place you've never seen, with a keyboard. Your credit score, your social security number, your birth date. Everything that proves who you are. If it's in the hands of a hacker, how do you prove your identity? The year is 2017. One of America's biggest credit reporting agencies, Equifax, banks, insurance companies, even the government. Everyone trusts them, but no one protects their system. Then one day, a cyber attack comes from the dark depths of the internet. A simple security flaw, an unpatched software. And the result? Personal data of 147 million Americans is stolen. Names, addresses, birth dates, and most importantly, social security numbers. Your identity in the digital world. At that moment, it's not just a digital robbery. It's a massive identity theft. And Equifax hides it for months. But who were the hackers? A cyber espionage group linked to the Chinese government, or fraudsters lurking in the dark web? When the breach was revealed, Equifax's stocks plummeted, the CEO resigned, and millions spent years trying to fix their credit reports. To steal your identity now, they don't need your wallet, just one vulnerability. And suddenly, you're no longer you. You made a vacation plan. You entered your reservation, but unknowingly, you also uploaded your life into the system. The year is 2018, and one of the world's largest hotel chains, Marriott, drops a bombshell. Information of 500 million customers has been stolen, but actually, it all started back in 2014. This system had been quietly watched for 4 years. What was stolen? Names, email addresses, passport numbers, phone numbers, and in some cases, even encrypted credit card details. This wasn't just a hotel booking system. It was practically a global intelligence database. The rich, diplomats, government officials, all staying at Marriott. And now they're all targets in the shadows. The FBI and international cybersecurity experts launch an investigation. A shocking claim emerges. The attack might be linked to a Chinese government-backed cyber espionage operation. The goal wasn't just fraud. It was to gather travel details of government officials, track international movements, and gather intelligence. This attack was one of the most insidious blows of the digital age. By the time Marriott realized the breach, it was too late. The data had already changed hands on the dark web. Did you know that when you check into a hotel, you're handing over not just the key, but your entire history? And now, that information might be watched by someone you've never met, in a country you don't even know. So, do you think real privacy is possible in the digital world? The room you stayed in might have been safe, but the system's door was wide open. They called it digital gold, the money of the future. But one morning, 850,000 bitcoins vanished into thin air. The year was 2014. The world was just getting to know Bitcoin. And at the heart of this system was an exchange in Japan, Mt. Gox, the biggest Bitcoin exchange of the time. 70% of all transactions worldwide were happening there. It was basically the center of Bitcoin. But one day, users couldn't access their accounts. Bitcoins were missing, and the announcement that followed shook the market. 850,000 Bitcoins had been stolen. How? The system had been exploited for years without anyone noticing. The hack actually started back in 2011, but nobody realized for a long time. Small amounts of Bitcoin were stolen with every transfer. For 3 years, millions of dollars quietly disappeared. That day, Mt. Gox collapsed. Trust in Bitcoin was shattered. Thousands of people's savings were wiped out in an instant. So who was to blame? The exchange, an inside job, or a sophisticated cyber gang from outside? Encrypted wallets, missing money, government investigations. But most of those coins still haven't been found. This event showed the dark side of digital currency. You could become rich overnight, or one morning find yourself with nothing. Is Bitcoin safe? The exchange? The wallet? Or is it all just risk? If your money is digital, mistakes cost real. An update was released, and on that day, without even realizing it, the United States opened its doors to cyber spies. In December 2020, one of the most sophisticated and stealthy cyber attacks in history was discovered. The attackers had infiltrated SolarWinds, a software company trusted by governments, banks, and tech giants worldwide. They inserted a Trojan horse into an update of SolarWinds' Orion platform, which was then downloaded by 18,000 institutions, including the US Treasury, the Pentagon, Microsoft, and NATO-affiliated firms. With the update, the malware quietly entered systems, stayed hidden for months, collected intelligence, and opened secret backdoors. Cybersecurity experts eventually traced the attack to a Russian state-sponsored group known as APT-29, or Cozy Bear. But even now, no one knows exactly what was stolen, how much was compromised, or whether the attackers still have access. The SolarWinds case exposed just how fragile digital security can be in an interconnected world, where a simple update can become a silent invasion. One morning, you wake up, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Barack Obama, and even Apple all posting the same tweet: "Send Bitcoin, and I'll send back double." Was it a joke? No, it was a digital attack. On July 15, 2020, Twitter experienced the biggest security breach in its history. Suddenly, hundreds of verified accounts began posting the exact same crypto scam. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Joe Biden, Kanye West, the world's wealthiest and most influential voices, became tools in a global Bitcoin trap. And people actually sent money. Over $100,000 flowed straight into the scammers' wallets. But the real story behind the tweets was far darker. A special internal Twitter admin panel had been compromised. This wasn't just a hack. It was as if Twitter's brain had been hijacked. Was it an inside job, or was the weakest link, once again, human? Investigations uncovered a shocking truth. The attack wasn't carried out by elite professionals, but by a group of young individuals who used social engineering to trick Twitter employees, steal credentials, and break into the system. This was more than a security flaw. It was a game of social intelligence, and the winners left their mark on one of the world's biggest platforms. 140 characters, and the entire world went silent. This incident proved once again, even the most powerful tech giants can fall victim to human error. So, what could happen if control of a social media platform falls into the wrong hands? May 12, 2017. It was an ordinary workday around the globe. Hospitals, airports, banks, everything running smoothly. Until suddenly, screens went dark. A virus began spreading across the world. WannaCry ransomware. It silently entered computers, locked files, and then flashed a red warning. If you don't pay, all your data will be lost. This wasn't just a virus. It was a digital hostage crisis. And the victims weren't just random users. Over 80 hospitals in the UK were paralyzed. Giants like FedEx, Renault, and Telefonica came to a standstill. In total, over 300,000 systems across 150 countries were locked down. So how did this happen? The flaw was actually patched by Microsoft months earlier, but systems that hadn't been updated became the perfect entry points. The shocking part, the vulnerability was originally discovered by the NSA, but it was leaked. An intelligence weapon suddenly turned on the entire world. The group believed to be behind the attack, Lazarus, a hacker unit allegedly linked to North Korea. But concrete proof still doesn't exist. WannaCry demanded ransom in Bitcoin, yet ironically tracking the money was relatively easy. The hackers didn't profit much, but they did teach the world a lesson. If you don't update, your entire life can be locked down. WannaCry wasn't just a name. For those who lived through it, it was a real tear. Imagine this. A virus not just crashing a computer, but crippling an entire country's nuclear program. The year is 2010. Engineers working at Iran's nuclear facilities begin facing strange malfunctions. Centrifuges are breaking down. Systems are collapsing. Yet no one can explain why. Until a cybersecurity firm uncovers one of the most sophisticated pieces of malware in history. Stuxnet. It wasn't just any worm. It was designed to specifically target industrial control systems, physically sabotaging machines while showing everything as normal on screen. And where did it hit? Iran's Natanz nuclear facility. But how did it get into a network not even connected to the internet? Through a USB stick. Yes, it was delivered from the outside, just like in a spy movie. The goal? Sabotage Iran's uranium enrichment efforts. And it worked. Hundreds of centrifuges were destroyed, setting the nuclear program back by months. Who was behind it? While there's no official confession, experts believe it was a joint operation between the United States and Israel. The code was so advanced, it was nearly impossible to have been written without state-level resources. Stuxnet became the world's first real cyber weapon, and it forced us to ask, are wars now being won with keyboards instead of guns? Could a computer virus become the most powerful weapon of the future? You open your email one morning, completely unaware that a hacker may have already slipped into your life. The year is 2013. Millions of people are checking their emails, chatting, sending bank passwords and photos. But behind the scenes, something quiet is happening. Yahoo is being hacked. And no one notices. No warning, no alarm. The breach is silent, fast, and deep. Then 3 whole years pass. By the time it's 2016, Yahoo finally reveals the horrifying truth. 3 billion accounts were compromised. Yes, you heard that right. The largest data breach in history, not just for Yahoo, but for the entire internet up to that point. What was stolen? Names, birth dates, phone numbers, email addresses, security questions, and some of it wasn't even encrypted. So who did it? According to US officials, the attackers were state-sponsored hackers with ties to Russia. But their goal wasn't just to steal data. This was about crafting fake identities for agents, political manipulation, and deep intelligence gathering. The scale was so massive that Yahoo's sale price dropped by billions. Its reputation crumbled, and people started to ask themselves, I thought I had nothing to hide, but what if someone already sees everything? Everything you believe is secure online might be just a line of code away from exposure. This wasn't just a hacking case. It was the digital age's loudest warning. So, do you think we're ever truly safe in the digital world? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And remember, nothing on the internet is ever 100% private.